Welcome back to another video. I'm Doliwhop, and today I got a new team video for you. And no, this isn't for the ATR verse. This one's a bit more game focused. Now, have you ever looked at a Pokemon and thought, gee, that would go perfectly on this person's team, only it's in a different generation and would be weird if I threw him on there? Well, that's what we're doing today. We're breaking apart the generational locks and making teams for every gym leader and Elite Four member with what I'd consider to be the best Pokemon for them. I will be including champions, but only if they specialize in a monotype. This idea works best if we're restricting ourselves to a single type only. That doesn't mean there won't be a few outlier Pokemon, but that's just what they are, outliers. Also, I'm not preventing myself from repeating Pokemon on other people's teams. Some types have so few members that it would be impossible to not do so, especially since this is all about giving people what Pokemon fit them best. I won't be including any legendaries or mythicals. That's the only restriction in place though. Also, we're going off the games only. I'll take some notes from the anime and manga, but think of this as if we had the Black and White 2 tournament and these guys were at their max potentials. Anyways, enough chit chat, let's get onto the list. Today's video is starting off with Kanto. Brock's team is going to be Steelix, Golem, Sudowoodo, Gigalith, Bastiodon, and Rampardos. Going off the description of Brock, it stated he has a serious demeanor and is highly respected. He likes to go digging for fossils on Mount Moon and has a rock-hard willpower. He rarely laughs, but when he does, it's hard to get him to stop. It's always interesting when they add little notes at the end like that. Anyways, those are the factors I consider for this. Now, Aces stick around, so his Onix is here only as a Steelix. Yeah, it breaks the monotype theme, but Onix sucks so hard, why not just evolve it? Golem also fits Brock's theme as well. Gigalith has a powerful Sandstream ability Brock would take advantage of, while also being the Unovan Golem. It's bulky and serious, which is sort of the big theme for Brock. Sudowoodo is here for that laugh comment that's said about him. It's a Pokemon that is sort of a joke, so it represents his lighter side, and also, you know, anime. Bastiodon and Rampardos are two fossil Pokemon that fit Brock the best. Kabutops and Amistar are great, but I always think of them as more water type than rock type. Even Aerodactyl feels more closely related to flying types and I guess dragons than rocks. So that's why I picked the two rockiest of the fossils. Bastiodon is here to add to the defensive bulk of Brock's team, while Rampardos is that huge attack power. Swimming up next, we have Misty. Misty's team is Starmie, Golduck, Gyarados, Barraskewda, Palafin, and Lapras. An interesting fact about Misty is that her strategy is an all-out attack with water Pokemon, which isn't something reflected in our usual teams. That's why we've given her a team full of Pokemon that hit fast and hard. Golduck is known for its swimming abilities. While I think Gyarados, Barraskewda, and Palafin don't need too big of an explanation as to why they're here. Lapras appears to be an outlier, but that goes into another fact about Misty. She has a deep admiration for Lorelei and trains at the Seafoam Islands. I translate that into giving her Lapras, which is Lorelei's ace. I looked at the other water ice types to see if I liked any of them better, but Lapras just cleared them in my head. Striking from above, we have the Lightning American Lieutenant Surge. His team is Raichu, Electivire, Electrode, Alolan Golem, Kilowattrel, and Galvantula. Lieutenant Surge has a weird situation with his ace. In the anime and games, it's Raichu, except for in the manga, and in Johto, when the first battle has to be Electabuzz, but then the rematch evolves Electabuzz into Electivire and has Raichu be the ace again. Truthfully, I like both as his ace, which is why I included both here. The rest are references to his soldier days. Electrode is a bomb, Golem is a railgun, and Galvantula makes traps with his webs. Having multiple Pokemon that reference traps is also good, as Lieutenant Surge has literally trapped his entire gym. As for Kilowattrel, that leads into a fun fact. Lieutenant Surge was also a pilot during the war, which is why the bird is included. Coming in with some flower power, Erica's next and her team is Vileplume, Blossom, Venusaur, Roserade, Carnivine, and Maractus. If you didn't know, Erica's known for being a teacher of flower arranging. She only collects Pokemon if she considers them attractive, though her definition of attractive seems to include varieties only a botanist would love. That's why her entire team is full of different flower Pokemon. And yes, Venus flytraps are flowering plants, so Carnivine counts. You could mix and match a few other flower Pokemon in here, but I chose the ones with the most diversity of types. Carnivine and Maractus were the most important to include with how different they are than the traditional plants. It ties into Erica's weird definition of beauty. Sneaking into the next section, we have Koga. His team is Muck, Crobat, Toxicroak, Seviper, Gliscor, and Amoonguss. My focus on here was ninjas, poisons, and antidotes. Koga is said to have studied medicine and antidotes, even making his own potions to heal his team. That ties into our big outlier in Gliscor. I mean, it has the poison heal ability. It heals itself through poison. Makes sense. Crobat feels like it fits with the quick and deadly ninja vibes. Same with Toxicroak. It's like an assassin. Seviper is that hidden toxic blade that a ninja uses, and Amoonguss is a reference to ninja's deceptive nature. It disguises itself as a Pokeball before attacking with spores and toxins. Perfect for surprise attacks. It's sort of the Weezing replacement in my mind, as it does Weezing's Smokeball job, but better. Koga is also known to patrol the Safari Zone and keep it safe, so I imagine him leaving Amoonguss in there as a way to catch poachers and the like. This team doubles as Koga's Elite Four team in Johto, by the way. I considered making another team for that, but if the teams are supposed to be the trainers at their best with the Pokemon that fit them the most, then what do I change for Johto? Speaking of Gen 2, we have Janine next. Her team is Venomoth, Fortress, Ariados, Salazzle, Sneasler, and Alolan Muck. So I'm including her now, as while she did get her start in Gen 2, it was as a Kanto gym leader. It'd feel weird to try and put her in the Johto video next, rather than just including her after her dad here. As for her team, the thing about Janine is she's a lot like Koga. She's a ninja who uses poison types. The thing I wanted to do with her is hit on her goal of improving her skills and becoming better than her father. That's why her team is all about surpassing him. Venomoth and Ariados are good staples for her that fit the ninja theme, similar to Koga's Crobat. Fortress is a very ninja-like Pokemon with its ability to set up spikes and explode. Its immunity to poison types is why I included it here. If you're going to counter a poison type user, use a steel type. Sneasler is my Toxicroak equivalent, as both have these sharp claws full of poison to stab foes. The difference is Sneasler has a signature move in Dire Claw that can also paralyze or put enemies to sleep, improving on Toxicroak's gimmick. Salazzle shows off how much stronger Janine is, as she has a Pokemon that can literally poison Pokemon normally immune to it. Not even Koga can do that. Lastly, she has Alolan Muck, which is immune to psychic attacks due to its dark typing. It's a literal improvement on her father's ace. Moving right along, we have the mistress of spoonbending, Sabrina. Sabrina's team is Alakazam, Metagross, Espeon, Galarian Slowking, Delphox, and Orbeetle. Despite being a beloved gym leader, Sabrina doesn't have a lot to her. Don't get me wrong, she has some cool stuff in her bio, but other than being a powerful psychic, telepathic communication, and seeing the future, there isn't a lot here to hone in on specifically. You know, all that's just kind of psychic stuff in general. So I decided to make her a strong team of psychics. Metagross is self-explanatory. Espeon and Delphox both have dex entries that talk about seeing the future, which fits with her. Orbeetle's description talks about its power, which reminded me of Alakazam, plus it has the telepathy ability. Galarian Slowking is where I got the most creative. I put it there to represent the wickedness of Sabrina. I mean, in a lot of media, she's usually a bad guy at some point. She traps the gang as dolls in the anime, and in the manga, she's a leader in Team Rocket. So we have a Slowking here to show off the evil side. Blazing into the next slot, we have Blaine. His team is Magmortar, Hisuian Arcanine, Alolan Marowak, Hisuian Typhlosion, Darmanitan, and Blacephalon. Blaine has a similar problem to Sabrina, but in the opposite way. He's got a lot going for him with the hot-headed Quizmaster theme, but a lot of fire types don't really fit the smart science guy kind of theme he has going on. So I decided to improvise. I gave him a team of fire types with unique forms. Arcanine, Marowak, and Typhlosion have forms that appear in different regions rather than original ones, while Darmanitan has its Zen mode, and Blacephalon is a literal alien. I can imagine Blaine trying to quiz you on where these Pokemon originate, but you'd get the answers wrong because they're not from Kanto or Johto, but Hisui and Alola. And in Blacephalon's case, it's not from this dimension at all, which is kinda cheating. Also wanted to note that his ace situation is weird. In Gen 1, it's Arcanine, in Gen 2, it's Rapidash, and in the remake rematches, it's Magmortar. Personally, I like Magmar/Magmortar the best, so that's why it's here. I still got Arcanine on the team with the Hisuian version anyways. And for our last gym leader, it's the big man himself, Giovanni. Giovanni's team is Rhyperior, Hippowdon, Excadrill, Garchomp, Blood Moon Ursaluna, and Iron Treads. My idea was simple. I wanted him to have some of the strongest ground types around. Hippowdon might be a bit outlier in comparison, but it sets up the sand to give Excadrill and Garchomp a monstrous advantage. There's a reason Sandvale is banned a lot. Blood Moon Ursaluna and Iron Treads show off Giovanni's ability to obtain rare and strong Pokemon. All of the Iron Paradox Pokemon might have been built by people, so I can see a scenario of Team Rocket trying to construct one, or at least recreate it. And Blood Moon Ursaluna just has a more sinister vibe to it that makes me choose it over the regular version. Maybe not the best reasons, but I like it all the same. Finally, we're at the Elite Four. Freezing us in place, we have Lorelei. Her team is Lapras, Jinx, Dugong, Alolan Ninetales, Frostlass, and Frostmoth. Lorelei is known for her logical, calculated, and cool style of battling. I thought a team of Elec and Ice Pokemon fit well. Not much to it. Her bio didn't really have a lot I could go off of, so this is kind of what I came up with. Bruno's punching his way in next with the team of Machamp, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, Paldean Tauros Aqua Breed, Hariyama, and Emboar. Other than Machamp, the two Hitmons feel so closely tied to Bruno, I couldn't get rid of them. I considered like Sock and Throw, but it just felt like changing for the sake of changing, so they get to stay. And I think them together kind of show off the range of Bruno's fighting styles that he knows. Aquatauros here is a different form of the Kanto Pokemon that I can see him obtaining. I can see him having it charge at him, only to catch it by the horns and try and hold it back or throw it as a training method. Bruno is said to visit the Sevi Islands where he and his team enjoy the Ember Spa. I thought giving him a bulky firefighter in Emboar to help create a hot spring wherever he went would also be a good idea. I will say, I did consider giving him another Tauros, just the fire version. Finally, we have Hariyama, which references the fact that Bruno used to train Brawly. Giving him Brawly's ace is a great reference to that period in his life. Shadow sneaking into our next section is Agatha. Her team is Gengar, Gourgeist, Mimikyu, Banette, Annihilate and Fluttermane. Agatha uses ghosts, obviously, but she said to also use Pokemon with horrifying appearances, hence why we see her with an Arbok and a Golbat. I mean, we all know, though, it is because there was a lack of ghost types in Gen 1, but we kind of just ignore that. I decided her team should be of the spookiest ghost around. Gourgeist might not look scary, but its dex entries talk about how cries emanate from its body at the dead of night that are thought to be the wails of spirits suffering in the afterlife. That's not even going to the fact that it pretends to be people to drag victims off into the afterlife. And if it's small, it goes for adults, and if it's big, it goes for children. That's pretty scary, which is why I put it in here. Mimikyu has that whole horrifying creature hidden beneath the cloth thing going on for it, while Bandit is just your standard creepy voodoo doll. Annihilate isn't conventionally scary, but imagine fighting a Pokemon that refuses to go down to the point it grows so angry it dies and comes back. It's like a rage zombie. Definitely not something to mess with. Lastly, we have Fluttermane. It's not the scariest, but a reference to how old Agatha is. A prehistoric Pokemon for a fossil of a woman. Plus, if you've ever played competitive Pokemon, you're probably scared of seeing this thing as well. Finally, we have the Master of Dragons in Lance. Lance's team is Dragonite, Tyrantrum, Roaring Moon, Gouging Fire, Walking Wake, and Raging Bolt. This team is insane. So let's get into this. Lance is said to prefer the superiority of Dragon-type Pokemon, believing them to be virtually indestructible. His original team is full of Pokemon that were similar to dragons, but not. Why not give him a team consisting of some Pokemon that weren't even dragons in the first place? Tyrantrum is a powerful foe from ancient times that I replaced Aerodactyl with. I thought trading the dragon-like fossil for the actual dragon fossil made sense. Roaring Moon is my way of giving him Salamence without giving him Salamence. It's a savage beast that I think only someone of Lance's caliber can control. Finally, we have the Paradox forms of the legendary beasts. I thought this fit perfectly. Not only does including them show off Lance's ability to handle powerful dragons, they fit into this idea of him thinking dragons are indestructible. It's like giving him legendaries without giving him legendaries. More importantly, Lance becomes the Johto champion, and he's from Blackthorn. How cool is the idea of the Johto champion using the Paradox version of Johto's famed legendaries? This turns Lance from just a guy who uses dragon-like Pokemon to a master of savage beasts. And with that, we have Kanto down. Blue/Gary uses a mixed team, so I'm not including him. There isn't much I could change other than giving him random Pokemon, hence why I stick to the monotype trainers. If you like this video, let me know. It was a great change of pace to form these teams with no restrictions. These might not be the perfect ones, but look, all the Pokemon trainers have some variety, some group of Pokemon that could fit their themes. I just kind of go to the 6 I like. Anyways, let me know if you want to see Johto next. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.